Hello, I'm Jennifer, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm a photographer and videographer serving both Tennessee and Virginia. This channel is a place where I like to educate other photographers, share my experiences with other photographers, and show you a glimpse into my daily life. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing the 85mm lens by Canon. This lens is amazing. I call this lens the Caitlin James lens. Because it's her favorite lens, and it happens to be my favorite lens too, because I discovered it and I just love it. It creates beautiful images. This lens right here, it's a telephoto prime lens. A prime lens means it only has one focal distance, all the way down to 1.2, which means it lets in a lot of light, and it can go all the way up to an aperture of 16. And so this is an amazing portraiture lens. It's just so good. So as I said, this lens has an aperture of 1.2. So that means it can go down to 1.2. It lets in a lot of light. It also has what's called a USM focusing. I might make another video in the future about what a USM focusing, what that does. There's two different types of focusing systems. The closest focusing distance for this camera is 0.95 meters, which is 3.1 feet. So that means you have to be 3.1 feet away from your subject to be able to focus on them. And so like this lens is really good portrait lens for taking photos of like individual people or couples. So like my favorite way to use it is on a wedding day during the romantic portraits time, because you can kind of be like far away from the couple, but still get a really like crisp portrait of them. And it also has really nice like sharp bokeh. It's super pretty and it's just amazing. I use it for wedding portraits and I use it for senior portraits. It is my must-have lens at a wedding, although Caitlin James technically says that you could technically do a wedding without this lens. It's kind of like, she calls it icing on the cake, but I personally really don't think I could do a wedding without it, just because I love the beautiful images it creates. And on a wedding day, you want to create the best images for the couple. So therefore, like to me, it's like, I feel like the couple would be missing out on something if I didn't have this lens to create these type of images for them. The 50mm lens just doesn't quite give that blurred out bokeh background like the 85mm does. And so in my opinion, it's totally worth it to have it on a wedding day and use it for the romantic portraits, because it gives that romantic feeling to the portraits that really like make wedding photos just so much better. This lens does cost $1,900 new. So it's a pretty expensive lens, but I think it's worth it. It's also possible to find it used. There's this place called KEH Camera, where you can find used lenses. And so I think that place is actually a really good place where you could find this used for probably anywhere from $800 to $1,500 would be a range where you could find this lens used. This is an EF mount. And there's another version of this lens that's an RF mount, but this particular one is the EF mount, and that's how it mounts onto the camera down here. So this one fits with the Canon 5D Mark IV, which is the camera that I mainly shoot on currently. Also, this lens, it's a pretty heavy lens. It literally weighs 2.3 pounds. So when you have to carry this thing around on a wedding day, it's like, I'm picking it up, like it's pretty heavy. Like you put it around your neck and it's just like, it kind of weighs on you. Like it's just like, it's really heavy. But the images it creates, I find that it's totally worth it. So, and it also has the filter size on it. It's a 72, let's see if I can show you on the side here. It's a 72mm filter size. So if you do want to put a filter on it, you need to make sure that you're getting a 72mm size for that as well. This camera also has both autofocus and manual focus. I mainly use autofocus for it just because it's a really good lens and it works pretty well. The only thing this lens doesn't do well, it is not good at focusing fast. So like, I would not suggest it. Do not use it for when the bride is coming down the aisle, or for like if the senior is swirling around in a circle, spinning around for like a fun photo. Like, don't use it because it's not going to capture the motion correctly. You could try to have like a higher shutter speed, but the 35mm lens or the 15mm lens would really be a better camera to use if you're trying to capture like fast motion. So the 85mm lens is really a portrait lens for like, I would say like stage portraits, like pose portraits. It's so much better for that. So really this lens is just an amazing lens to have on a wedding day or for senior portraits. I'd highly recommend either buying it or renting it. I rented it from Lens Rentals, but at some point I do plan on purchasing the lens because it is just amazing. So yes, it is definitely my favorite lens. So if you're interested in seeing more content like this in the future, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching.